Let your breathing slow, dear listener. Let the gentle rocking of your own breath become the soft, lapping waves of a sun-drenched sea. You are safe. You are drifting. And I am going to take you now to a place of deep, ancient peace. To a harbor where the water is a brilliant, clear blue, and where the sunlight always seems to sparkle with a special kind of warmth. Our story tonight is about a giant. Not a frightening one, not a creature of anger or destruction, but a giant of bronze and light, built with patient, loving hands to stand as a welcoming beacon of peace. This is the story of the Colossus of Rhodes. Imagine, if you will, the beautiful Greek island of Rhodes. It is over 2,000 years ago, a time when the world was lit only by the sun, the moon, and the flicker of olive oil lamps. The island is a place of steep green hills, quiet olive groves, and a bustling, prosperous city clustered around a great harbor. The people of Rhodes were traders and sailors. Their lives were tied to the rhythm of the sea. The gentle tides, the salt spray, the creak of wooden ships, these were their daily lullabies. But a shadow had passed over this sunny island. A vast army from a distant land had come, laying siege to the city for a long, long year. The Rhodian people were brave. They defended their home with a quiet, steadfast courage. And when the great siege was finally broken, when the enemy ships sailed away, the people did not erupt in a violent, aggressive celebration. Instead, they felt a deep, quiet, exhausted peace. They looked up at the sun, the brilliant, life-giving sun that had watched over them through every day of the hardship, and they said a silent prayer of thanks. They believed their patron god, Helios, the god of the sun itself, had protected them, and they wanted to build him a gift. Not a simple temple of cold stone, but a gift of immense, breathtaking joy. They decided to build a statue so tall, so radiant, that it would stand as an eternal symbol of freedom and safety. The man chosen for this sacred task was a sculptor named Colossus of Rhodes. He was a student of the great master Lysippos, a man who knew how to breathe life into bronze. Chares looked out at the sparkling blue harbor, and he did not see a small, humble shrine. He saw a giant, a figure so colossal that it would stride across the harbor's entrance, welcoming every ship that came in peace. 105 feet tall. Just imagine a bronze statue as tall as a modern 10-story building standing under the sun. Chares began his work, and it was a work of profound and patient art. Listen now, and imagine the gentle sounds of creation. Down by the harbor, a huge, dedicated workspace was prepared. This was not a noisy, chaotic factory. It was more like a sacred, open-air sanctuary. The air was filled with the cool, salty breeze from the Aegean Sea, and under the brilliant Greek sky, many quiet, skilled hands began their work. The first thing they did was build the base. A huge, solid pedestal of white crystalline marble was laid down. The stones were cut and fitted together with such care that they needed almost no cement. On this perfect, gleaming stage, the giant would stand. Now Chares had a remarkable plan for how to build something so tall without modern cranes. He instructed his workers to build an enormous earthen ramp. And so, day by peaceful day, a gentle slope of packed earth began to rise from the ground. It curved around the growing statue like a soft, protective arm. As the bronze workers built the giant from the feet up, the ramp grew with him, constantly adjusted to keep the work level exactly right. It was a slow, steady dance of earth and metal. Pat, Pat, pat went the hands of the laborers, packing down the clean, dry soil. It was not a harsh or hurried sound. It was the soft, rhythmic heartbeat of a project that was going to take 12 long, happy years. And speaking of metal, the bronze. Oh, the making of the bronze was like a quiet, hidden river of light. In deep, carefully built clay pits, the metal workers lit fires. But these were not roaring, angry fires. They were a steady, deep orange glow, a soft hum of heat. They placed copper and tin into large clay pots and melted them together. The air shimmered gently above the pots. The workers, their faces calm and glowing in the warm light, poured the liquid bronze into specially prepared molds. The metal flowed like very, very slow, thick honey. It was a liquid sunset. The bronze plates for the Colossus were not cast as one giant piece. Instead, Chairs and his men shaped hundreds of individual plates, like the scales of a beautiful metallic dragon. Each plate was about as big as a man's chest. Once a bronze plate was cast and had cooled, it was lifted with quiet, carefully balanced ropes and pulleys. Here, the true artistry of the forge took over. The sculptors gathered around the plate with their small, delicate hammers and their chisels. Listen to the sound they made. It was not a loud, industrial banging. It was a musical, rhythmic tapping. Tink, 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 tink. They were carefully shaping the metal, smoothing out the joints, and giving life to the surface. They gave the curl of a lock of hair, the smooth, powerful curve of a wrist, the defined muscles of a calm and steady arm. The tapping was so constant and so gentle that it became a kind of music, a 12-year lullaby of creation. Slowly, beautifully, the giant began to rise from the earth. First, the massive bronze feet were fixed to the marble base, their soles as wide as a small ship. Then came the strong ankles, the powerful, muscular legs. The earth ramp, soft and silent, hugged the legs, allowing the sculptors to work on the knees and then the thighs. They were building a god, and they treated the work with a quiet, loving respect. Inside the statue, a hidden skeleton was built. A tower of carefully placed stone blocks and massive iron beams ran up through the center, stabilizing the great bronze plates that were fixed to it. The giant was not hollow. He had a strong stone heart. As the work continued, level by patient level, the Colossus began to take on his godlike form. The torso was broad and strong. The chest plates were shaped to look like the calm, deep breath of a being at peace. One of his arms, it was said, hung down by his side, his open hand held out in a gesture of welcome. And then came the face. Chairs saved the face for the end, and he worked on it with the most profound and tender care. He stood on the highest platform of the earth ramp and looked down at the face of Helios he was creating. This was not to be the face of a fierce warrior with a snarling mouth and vengeful eyes. No, Chares was creating a guardian of peace. The brow of the sun god was broad and serene. His eyes, though made of bronze, seemed to gaze out over the sparkling sea with a deep, far-reaching calm. His mouth was set in a soft, knowing, and gentle smile, and on his head he wore a crown of bronze rays, like the sun itself was resting on his brow. These pointed solar spikes caught the light in 1,000 different ways, creating a halo of golden sparks around his head. In his upraised right hand, the Colossus held his most important feature. It was not a sword. It was not a spear. It was a torch. A great beacon, meant to hold a fire that could be seen for miles out at sea. After 12 years, the great work was complete. The last bronze plate had been gently tapped into place. The last shimmering detail on the god's radiant crown was polished. And then very, very slowly, over a period of months, the huge, gentle earthen ramp was taken away. For the first time, the Colossus of Rhodes stood completely free under the open sky. He stood at the entrance of the harbor. It is a myth that he straddled the harbor's mouth with a ship passing under his legs each time. He probably stood on one side, but he was tall enough to have allowed a ship to pass beneath his outstretched hand. He was a towering, magnificent beacon of bronze, the color of a warm Aegean sunset. Oh, to have been a sailor on that day! Imagine sailing around the coast, your small wooden ship creaking gently on the soft swell, the smell of salt and jasmine drifting from the shore. You look up from your work, and there against the brilliant blue Attic sky, you see him. You see the Colossus. The midday sun blazes down on his polished bronze skin. He doesn't just reflect the light. He seems to gather it, to hold it in his very being, and then to radiate it back out. He is a second sun, born from the earth and the skill of human hands. And his face, that calm, gentle, smiling face, is looking down at you. What do you feel? You do not feel fear. You feel safe. You feel welcomed. You feel a deep, quiet hope. The Colossus was not built to intimidate or to threaten. He was built to mend the broken spirit of a city that had suffered a terrible war. He was a promise, written in bronze and standing 105 feet high, that peace and beauty would always, in the end, defeat destruction and fear. His name, Helios, meant the sun. And that is exactly what he was. A symbol that even after the darkest night, the sun will always rise warm and steady to light your way home. For 50 years, the Colossus stood as a serene guardian. He became known as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Travelers would journey to Rhodes not to see a temple or a palace, but to see this impossibly beautiful, human-made sun. The people of Rhodes were incredibly proud of him. He was their gentle giant, their silent friend who watched over the harbor and kept the peace. But as our story is a gentle one, so must its ending be the gentlest of sighs. The earth itself is a living thing. It breathes and stretches, and sometimes it shivers. One day, without warning, the earth shifted. A terrible earthquake shook the island of Rhodes. The city walls crumbled. The beautiful marble temples fell. And the great Colossus, his strong but rigid legs unable to bend with the shaking earth, broke at the knees. With a long, slow, deep groan, the giant of the sun lay down to rest on the solid earth he had guarded for so long. He did not shatter into 1,000 unrecognizable pieces. He simply lay, a peaceful, sleeping giant, across the rocks. The people of Rhodes looked at their fallen protector, and they wept quiet tears. But they did not see a ruin. They saw a sacred sleeping beauty, an ancient oracle, a source of prophecy, is said to have told them not to rebuild the statue. And so they listened. They left the giant where he rested. And for almost 900 years, the Colossus lay in his peaceful sleep. His bronze skin still glowed quietly in the sun. His calm face still looked up at the sky from which he had come. Even in rest, he was a wonder. Pilgrims traveled from distant lands just to see the fallen god, to walk around his enormous sleeping limbs and to reflect on the quiet power of beauty and peace. Eventually, the sands of time and the tides of commerce carried away his bronze plates, piece by piece to be melted down and made into new things. But the legend of the Colossus of Rhodes has never faded. It has never gone away, because the Colossus is not just a pile of ancient bronze on a forgotten beach. It is an idea. It is the idea that we can choose to build peace instead of monuments to war. It is the idea that a giant can be a gentle, welcoming guardian. It is the reason why today the word colossal means something not just huge, but wonderfully, breathtakingly good. And it is the direct inspiration for the most famous modern symbol of welcome in the world. When the French sculptor Bartholdi designed the Statue of Liberty for the United States, he was thinking of the Colossus of Rhodes. Our hello to the tired, the poor, the huddled masses yearning to breathe free is an echo from a sun-drenched Greek harbor over 2,000 years ago. Now, as you sink deeper into your own peaceful sleep, let your mind wander back to that beautiful harbor. The sun is setting now. The sky is a wash of soft peach and gentle lavender. The sea is calm, a dark, quiet blue. A few small ships with white sails rest peacefully on the water. And in the middle of this perfect scene, hold the image of the Colossus, not as a ruin, but as he was in his moment of glory. A giant of warm, radiant light, holding his torch high in the still air. He is not a symbol of power. He is a symbol of hope. His calm bronze face is looking at you with a gentle, protective kindness. He is welcoming you to rest. He is welcoming you to peace. You are safe in the light of his heart. So sleep now. Sleep, the gentle giant is watching over you. Sleep.